Our cars are high-end. This isn't your average dealership.
Oh, really? So what is my average dealership?
People often say, don't judge a book by its cover. But in high-end showrooms, where image reigns, assumptions happen fast, especially when the man in the hoodie is black, quiet, and doesn't fit the luxury mold. What they don't know? He owns the entire place. Blake Turner pulled into the lot of Sierra Luxe Motors. A gleaming palace of chrome and glass, nestled in sunny Palm Springs, the luxury dealership was home to Bentleys, McLarens, Aston Martins, cars with six-figure price tags and egos to match. Blake parked his modest grey Subaru near the back of the lot, far from the cameras and valets. His car blended into the background. That was the point. He stepped out wearing a faded white hoodie, jeans and beat-up sneakers. No Rolex, no designer sunglasses, just confidence, a calm walk and a plan. Blake was a black man in his mid-30s, tall, clean-shaven, thoughtful. He didn't walk with entitlement, but with purpose. Most important of all, he wasn't here as a shopper. He was here as the new owner. He had purchased Sierra Luxe quietly as part of a broader investment group, but he hadn't introduced himself to the staff yet. He wanted to observe things for himself, without the filters. Just raw behavior, how the team treated someone they assumed was nobody. As he stepped inside, a wave of cool, citrus-scented air greeted him. The polished floors sparkled, so did the cars. Sleek machines glowing under precision lighting, Blake didn't even get a hello. 3 sharply dressed salespeople by the front desk shot him a quick glance, then returned to their chatter. Their eyes took in the hoodie, the sneakers, the skin tone, and dismissed him in seconds. Then came the sound of heels. A blonde-haired woman in a red blazer approached, clipboard in hand. "Excuse me," she said with a professionally polite smile. "Can I help you with something?" Blake nodded with a warm grin. "Just browsing." She glanced at his sneakers, then the car he came from. "Are you looking for a specific model?" "Not yet, just wanted to see what catches my eye." "Well," she said with a slight edge, "Sierra Luxe caters to a select clientele. Most of our customers come by appointment. We usually start with pre-qualification before browsing." Blake smiled again, letting the comment hang in the air. "Appreciate that," he replied. "Still, mind if I look?" Her lips tightened. "Of course, but I'd suggest you avoid touching any vehicles. The finishes are delicate." "Understood," Blake said, already moving toward a midnight black McLaren. Her eyes followed him, clipboard clutched like a weapon. "You know," she added, walking behind him, "we do have a sister lot nearby, more accessible models, reliable, pre-owned. Might be a better fit." Blake stopped. He turned toward her slowly. "And what makes you think this place isn't a fit for me?" "I'm just trying to be realistic," she said, not missing a beat. "Our cars are high-end. This isn't your average dealership." Blake took a step closer to the McLaren, hands in his pockets. "What's your name?" "Mallory Jacobs, Senior Sales Manager." "Well, Mallory, what would you recommend for someone like me?" Mallory blinked. I can print out a list of certified pre-owned vehicles. Please do." Moments later, she returned with a sheet of older models, used sedans, budget hybrids, and discontinued luxury brands. None of them matched the floor's current inventory. "These are solid options, affordable, practical," she said. Blake took the sheet and studied it for a few seconds. "Thanks," he said. "You're welcome," she replied, clearly hoping he'd now leave. "I'd like to speak to the owner," Blake said calmly. Mallory frowned. "The owner doesn't typically take walk-ins. They'll want to talk to me." She crossed her arms. "Sir, I'm trying to be polite. If you're not here to buy..." Blake pulled out his phone. "One sec." He dialed. "John?" "Yep." "I'm at the Palm Springs store. Can you let them know I'm here? I'll wait near the McLaren." Mallory's composure cracked. "Who did you just call?" she asked. Blake didn't answer. He just slipped the phone away and smiled. 10 minutes later, the glass doors opened. John Ward, regional director, in a tailored navy suit, strode in with a smile. "Blake Turner," he beamed. "Didn't expect you today." The entire staff froze. Mallory's clipboard slid from her hands. "You know him?" she whispered. He's your new boss, John replied flatly. He owns Sierra Luxe now. Mallory's face drained of color. Blake turned toward her, calm, composed. Still think I need directions to your budget lot? The conference room was modern, sleek and high-end, much like the rest of Sierra Luxe Motors. But the atmosphere inside wasn't calm or confident. It was tense, awkward, quiet. Employees shuffled into their seats around the long glass table. Some avoided eye contact. Others tried to appear casual. But there was no hiding the discomfort. A storm had just swept through the showroom, and now they were facing the eye of it. At the head of the table stood Blake Turner, still in his hoodie, still calm, still collected. But now the weight of his title settled over every word he spoke. Thanks for coming, he began, his voice even. For those of you I haven't met before, I'm Blake Turner. I own Sierra Luxe Motors, and today wasn't just a surprise visit. It was a test. He let the words breathe. See, when I arrived today, I wasn't greeted. I wasn't offered help. I wasn't respected. I was watched, evaluated, and dismissed before I said a word. Why? Silence. Every eye was on him now. I think you all know why. I'm a black man. I walked in here wearing a hoodie and sneakers, and I didn't look the part. So you assumed I didn't belong. Mallory sat 3 chairs down. She looked smaller than usual, shoulders lowered, hands clasped tightly in her lap. Blake looked at her for a beat, then returned his gaze to the team. I get it, he said. We're in the luxury business. Image matters. But here's the thing. Judging someone based on how they look isn't just bad for business, it's bad for people. It's bad for culture. And if that's the foundation here, then I'm not proud to own this place. A younger associate raised his hand. Mr. Turner, I'm really sorry. I wasn't trying to be disrespectful. I appreciate that, Blake said gently, but let's be honest. This isn't about one person, it's about all of us, about a mindset, about a standard we've been accepting without question. He turned to John Ward, who stood quietly in the back. Effective today, Blake announced, we're launching a company-wide accountability initiative. 2 things. First, every employee will complete inclusivity and conscious bias training. Real training, real stories, no checkbox. There were quiet murmurs, some heads nodding. Second, he continued, we're starting a mystery shopper program. People will come in, some in suits, some in jeans, some who look like millionaires, and some who don't. They'll report what they experience, and we'll review that feedback as a team every week. This time heads turned. That was new. You'll be judged not by your sales numbers alone, as Blake said, but by your professionalism, your respect, your ability to treat people right, whether they're buying a Bentley or just asking questions. Then he turned toward Mallory. I want to address something directly. Mallory looked up, swallowing hard. You've worked here a long time. Your experience is clear. But what happened today crossed a line. You not only dismissed a customer, you disrespected someone you assumed didn't matter. I know, she said quietly. I let my bias speak before my professionalism, and I'm sorry. I believe you, Blake replied, but there are still consequences. He paused, letting the team listen in. As of today, Mallory will step down from her role as senior sales manager. She'll transition into a training coordinator position. Your job will be to help us rebuild our culture, to teach new hires how to lead with respect, not assumptions. Mallory's eyes welled with embarrassment, but also understanding. I accept that, she said softly. And I'll do better. Blake nodded. I'm not here to humiliate anyone. I'm here to raise the standard. He walked around the table slowly. I grew up on the south side of Atlanta. Didn't come from money. I worked for everything I have. I've been ignored, underestimated, even followed in stores. But what hurts the most is when it happens in a place I now own. A place I want to be proud of. Silence again. A powerful silence. I didn't come here today for a confrontation, he added. I came to understand who we are, and now I know we have work to do. Then his tone softened. But here's the good news. We're not stuck. We get to choose who we become from here. As individuals, as a dealership, as a brand. He returned to the front of the room. So here's the choice. If you believe in respect, fairness, and creating a space where anyone, regardless of what they wear or where they come from, feels valued, then I'm with you and I'll support you every step of the way. One by one, heads nodded. If you don't? Blake shrugged. Well, there are other places to work. A long pause followed. Then finally, a young woman named Jenna spoke up. I joined Sierra Luxe because I thought it stood for excellence, she said. Today was uncomfortable, but I think it's the kind of truth we needed. Others murmured agreement. Blake smiled. Good. Then let's be excellent. For real this time. As the meeting ended and staff began filing out, Mallory lingered. Blake, she said, hesitating. I meant it. I want to change. I believe you, he replied. Just make sure the next person who walks in gets the version of you who learned something today. I will, she nodded. John clapped him on the shoulder. That was impressive. Blake looked around the showroom where luxury cars gleamed like trophies. We can sell fancy cars all day, he said, but if we can't treat people with dignity, then we're just polished failure. And with that, he walked back toward the sunlight, still in his hoodie, still proud, and more determined than ever to lead by example.